What if sleep was more than just rest? What if every night, when we close our eyes, we're flirting with one of the biggest mysteries of existence? Imagine this. You lie down, feel your body relax, and your mind starts to wander. And then, in that silent moment between waking up and dozing off, something happens. Something that few people dare to talk about, but that every single one of us will experience one day. Have you ever wondered what really happens when we die in our sleep? What lies behind that serene, almost invisible transition that to many seems scary, but for others might be the greatest act of love in the universe? Today, you're not just going to hear an explanation. You're going to join me on a journey where science, spirituality, and real stories come together to show that dying in your sleep might be very different from what you imagine. But before we dive into this mystery, I want to invite you right away. If you feel that this topic moves you, intrigues you, or touches your heart, subscribe to the channel, hit like, and share in the comments what you expect from what's coming. Your participation makes all the difference, and together we can turn this space into a true sanctuary of reflection and comfort. When we think of sleeping, we immediately picture our body resting, our senses shutting down, simply switching off from our daily routine. But what if I told you that sleeping is actually a subtle practice for death? No, I'm not talking about something morbid or scary. Think about it. Dying in your sleep isn't like being ripped from this world by force. It's more like a candle that just goes out gently, without wind, without pain, only serenity. This is where our perspective needs to change. Death, experienced in sleep, isn't a tragedy or a sudden loss. It's a transition. It's like crossing a thin bridge of mist, where the body rests and the mind lets go, light as a leaf floating in the breeze. This video isn't going to give you ready-made answers or magic solutions, but I promise you'll see sleep and death with fresh eyes. Have you ever noticed how some cultures see death as a return, not an end? Get ready, because what we're about to explore might forever transform your relationship with sleep and with life itself. Let me tell you a story. Mrs. Maria, 82 years old. She lived in a small town in the countryside, surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Every night she did the same ritual: chamomile tea, a quiet prayer, and a goodnight kiss. On one peaceful early morning, Maria passed away. Sleeping, without pain, without anguish, she simply left. And that morning, as the sun rose, everyone somehow felt that she was at peace. This story happens far more often than we imagine. João Victor, 29, who had a rare disease, asked his parents, "When my time comes, I want to be at home, listening to my favorite song." And that's exactly what happened. Amid gentle notes, João smiled and drifted off. It's stories like these that make us realize there is something deeply spiritual and loving about departing in one's sleep. Have you ever known someone who left this way? Or maybe you've heard similar stories? Share in the comments. Your experience might comfort and inspire someone else. Throughout this video, I'll bring more real accounts and examples so you understand. Dying in your sleep isn't random. It's a special chapter of existence. But what happens to the body and mind when we sleep? During deep sleep, our brainwaves slow down. The body enters a repair state, and our awareness moves away from the physical world. Some researchers talk about lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, moments when we feel like we're floating above ourselves. From a spiritual perspective, this relaxation goes even deeper. It's like the electromagnetic field around us loosens, petal by petal, until the soul can expand, free from the limits of the body. Just imagine, sleep is like diving into an ocean of peace where the soul learns to gently detach, night after night. When death happens in sleep, there's no shock, no fear. It's as if our awareness simply passes through a thin curtain, almost without noticing. And what if every night we were practicing our own rebirth? Let that idea resonate with you. And get ready, because in the next few minutes we're going to dive even deeper into this mystery, with stories, science, and spirituality side by side. You might be wondering, isn't all this just imagination? Is anyone seriously studying these experiences? The truth is, yes. The phenomenon of dying in one's sleep sparks the curiosity of doctors, researchers, and mystics all around the world. American psychiatrist Dr. Raymond Moody, famous for his research on near-death experiences, reported countless cases where patients described feelings of peace and comfort, similar to those experienced in deep sleep. Edgar Cayce, known as the sleeping prophet, claimed that during sleep, our consciousness travels, learns, and reconnects with higher dimensions, hinting at what happens at the moment of death. Physician Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, a pioneer in palliative care, used to say that she witnessed hundreds of gentle departures, almost always during sleep, and that the fear of death comes from the unknown, not from the real experience. In hospitals and nursing homes, nurses report inexplicable moments of serenity, people who, even while suffering, fall asleep and simply leave. These accounts aren't just pretty stories. They're testimonies that repeat themselves, echoing across cultures, religions, and centuries. Is this just coincidence? Is it only biology? Or is there truly an invisible bond that connects us to the mystery of what lies beyond? Now imagine this. When you close your eyes, you're not merely turning off from the world. You might be entering a secret room in the universe, where others are already waiting for you. Mystics from various traditions talk about spiritual guardians that accompany the soul on its journey. There are accounts of people who, in vivid dreams, meet loved ones who have already passed, feel embraces, or hear words of comfort. In visions described by those who have experienced near-death events, there appear gardens of indescribable beauty, bridges of light, and familiar faces that seem to say, "It's all okay, you've arrived." Could it be that when we die in our sleep, we're welcomed with the same care and tenderness? What lies beyond the curtain of sleep? Maybe you've felt, even for a second, the presence of someone dear next to you in the middle of the night, or dreamt of places so real that upon waking you longed for them. The mystery remains, and that's precisely what makes this topic so fascinating. What else lies beyond? What awaits us on the other side of this delicate veil? Now let's speak from the heart. The fear of death is universal. At some point, we've all wondered, will I suffer? Will I be alone? What comes after? But look, no one, absolutely no one, goes through that moment without company. There are countless accounts of people who, in their final, feel the presence of family members who have already passed, see familiar faces, or receive farewell dreams full of peace. If you've lost someone who passed away in their sleep, you might have felt, paradoxically, a sense of consolation, as if their departure was a gesture of care, a final protection against pain. Dying in your sleep isn't abandonment. It's comfort. It's like the universe saying, now you can rest. There's no more fear, only love. If you feel longing, if you feel fear, if doubts fill you, know that all these emotions are legitimate. But also allow yourself to embrace hope, the certainty that no one goes through that threshold alone. And if, in the end, death is just a reunion with everything we love most, maybe you've had that strange dream. You wake up feeling like you visited a place or talked with someone who is no longer here. Perhaps you noticed a scent, heard a phrase, or even received an embrace that felt more real than anything you've ever experienced. And then you wonder, was it just a dream, or was it something more? Science calls that lucid dreams or near-death experiences. Spirituality speaks of astral encounters, visits from cherished souls, signs that the connection wasn't broken. Think of the soul like water in a reservoir. When the body sleeps, the gates open just a little, allowing the soul to expand, explore, and reunite. Have you ever heard of déjà vu? That feeling of, I've lived this before? Some researchers suggest it might be the memory of out-of-body experiences during sleep, when our consciousness travels to different places and reunites with people from the past. And what about premonitory dreams? Have you ever dreamt of someone who passed away and upon waking felt it was a message? These phenomena don't need a complicated explanation. They might simply be the universe's way of reminding us. We are more than just flesh and bone. We are consciousness, energy, an eternal bond. Have you ever experienced something like this? Share your story, because your experience might be the comfort someone needs right now. We've now reached the heart of this mystery. What have you felt so far? What has changed inside you? If there is one certainty in life, it's that all of us will one day cross that veil. But if dying in your sleep isn't the end, but rather a gentle transition, then life gains a whole new meaning. Imagine, every night as you sleep, you're rehearsing your reunion with the divine. It's not a goodbye, but a see you later. It's not about closing doors, but about moving to a different room in an infinite mansion. Consciousness doesn't turn off, it travels, learns, reconnects. And when the time comes, maybe everything happens with a tenderness as subtle as a flower slowly blooming at dawn. When you look at sleep, death, and life, do it with the eyes of a traveler. The destination isn't the end, but a return home. Do you feel that? That soft peace, that warmth in your chest. The central message is simple. Dying in your sleep can be one of the most loving gestures in the universe. A passage, not a loss. A reunion, not an emptiness. And if all this makes sense to you, don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments what has changed inside of you. Your voice is a fundamental part of this collective awakening. Now I want to speak directly to you, who stayed until the end. If this video touched your heart, if it brought you comfort, curiosity, or hope, know this: you are not alone. There is an entire community seeking meaning, truth, and comfort, and you are a part of it. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Leave your comment, tell your story, ask your question. Your story might be the silent embrace someone needs right now. Subscribe to the channel because your spiritual journey is just beginning. Here together we'll explore other mysteries of consciousness, the soul, and the unseen world around us. You're not here by chance. There is a purpose in every encounter, every word, every awakening. Join us. Let's turn fear into courage, doubt into a search, and longing into a reunion, hand in hand. Because deep down, we're all just coming back home. And as long as we're together, no path will ever be lonely. Welcome to our community, where every night, every dream, and every life is celebrated as part of one huge, infinite mystery. And remember, your journey of awakening is only just beginning. There's something magical about realizing that even when faced with the unknown, we can choose how we see our greatest mysteries. Today, you walked with me along paths of stories, science, faith, and sensitivity. We talked about Mrs. Maria, Yuan Victor, researchers and mystics, dreams and farewells, meetings and reunions. Maybe for the first time you felt that dying in your sleep can be the most delicate gesture of existence. Not a blow, but a whisper. An invitation to come back. A journey taken in silence, wrapped in tenderness and light. I know that topics like these strike deep. They stir memories, fears, and hopes, but above all, they unite us in what is most human, the search for meaning, for belonging, for love. Did you notice how, throughout this conversation, your view on death might have softened? Sleep can now be seen as a portal, a daily preparation for the great reunion. And life, in turn, becomes even more valuable. Each hug, each word, each night of rest gains a whole new meaning. If you made it this far, know that you are part of a quiet stream of people who search for light in the shadows, hope in uncertainty, and peace in mystery. You are not alone. We have all lost, feared, and cried at times, but we also learn, grow, and reconnect. And perhaps the greatest lesson is this: there is no end, only transformations. There is no loss, only a change in form. Now I want to invite you once again not to let this conversation die here. If this video touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, hit like, subscribe, and most importantly, write your comment. Tell your story, ask your question, share your doubt or comfort. Let's create together a web of support that can cross any distance, heal any longing, and light up any dark night. You are welcome to continue this journey with us. Here, every topic will be explored with respect, depth, and openness, because the mystery of life is too big to be experienced alone. And if there's something greater waiting for us, let it be lived with awareness, courage, and above all, love. Subscribe to the channel and hit like to access more stories like this. May peace, comfort, and wisdom be with you tonight and with every new awakening. See you in the next video.